Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, I'm going to be showing you how you could make $4 million a day as a solo player in GTA 5 Online. This will only take about 3 hours every day, so it's not a lot of time grinding, but it's a pretty big payoff. And although this video isn't for beginners, level 1 beginners, I do have a full series called Billionaire's Beginnings on the channel. Feel free to go watch it if you want to see how I went from $0 to tens of millions. But with that being said, you only have to have a few businesses for this money method, and I hope you guys do enjoy. I'm making this video to try to help people be as efficient with their money making as possible, so I hope it does help you. If it does, it'd be very much appreciated if you drop a like on the video and share it with other people who may also need to see this content. So the first step is setting up the Nightclub if you haven't already. All you got to do is purchase one, which the cheapest one is just over $1 million. And I suggest getting the equipment upgrade and then purchasing all technicians and assigning all technicians. Now, of course, we're going to need other businesses in the game in order to start creating products, but we'll start from the very beginning. The cheapest Nightclub plus the equipment upgrade and all technicians will cost $3,383,000. So we're going to want to assign the technicians to the 5 different businesses that you can see mine assigned to on screen. You will need for that the CEO business, obviously, the bunker, the white stuff lockup, the blue stuff lab, and then also the cash creation factory. Now, at some point in this method, one of these may be filled up. You could go and change it to another business that you may have or use a combination of this, but we want to be around the $50,000 per hour earnings with the Nightclub. That's the goal. So once all of those are assigned, we are going to go AFK. Now, before we do that, though, we have to do step 2. And step 2 is resupplying and selling off our bunker stock. So the cheapest bunker goes for $1,165,000, and in order for this to work efficiently, we need to have the equipment upgrade and the staff upgrade, meaning all in, everything total goes for $2,918,500. So decent investment, but this is part of our money method. So first, we've set up our Nightclub to go AFK. Now we're doing the maintenance required so that our bunker can accrue goods while we're going AFK as well. So assuming you've been doing this for multiple days, you should have stock right when you do it this first time. But if not, that's fine. Buy supplies for $75,000. As a solo player, one batch of supplies will give you stock worth $210,000, and it's going to be one vehicle, which is perfect. So that's what we're going to be doing. If you have stock, sell it and then resupply. If you don't, then resupply right off the bat. And then once we've done that, we are now going AFK. Now, the point of these 2 steps being first is that when we go AFK, it's going to be before a few things. Before we go to bed, so it should be like a 6-8 hour block of time. Before we go to school or go to work, whatever it may be, it should be before a large period of time in our day. That's what I personally do. So I essentially just do one in the morning. I do the stuff in the morning, and then I have the block of the day going AFK. And then at night, we're going to do the active grinding, which we'll talk about later in this video. So we're assuming it's about 8 to 10 hours of AFK time. And don't worry, consoles could be on for essentially days at a time. Same with PCs. Obviously, shut your stuff off at some point, but for this money method, we're going AFK for about 8 hours. So like I said, before you go to bed, before you go to school, before you go to work, whatever it may be, we're going AFK ahead of time. And of course, our bunker is accruing supplies while we're AFK too. Now, in order to go AFK, which means that you're away from your game and it thinks you're still playing, but you're not actually there, and it allows you to accrue goods with your Nightclub and your bunker and other businesses. In order to do that, you need to have a CEO office or a high-end apartment, just a property that allows you to change its interior. In my case, I did the CEO office. All you got to do, go to your interaction menu, click on office decor, and then go into the preview section, and now you've gone completely AFK. You could leave for 10, 15, 20 hours, and the game still thinks you're there. You're still making money with the Nightclub. Your goods are still being produced with your bunker. It's perfect. So that right there is our first 3 steps. 1, get the Nightclub ready to go. 2, get the bunker ready to go. And then 3, we've gone AFK for a decent period of time. In this case, we're going to be assuming 8 to 10 hours. So once we finally come back from going AFK, we're now going to do step 4, which is doing the Cayo Perico heist. And in order to do that, we have to have the Kosatka submarine, which goes for $2,200,000. but I highly suggest also getting one of the moon pool vehicles, which is the Sparrow, which goes for $1,815,000, plus getting the missiles attached to it as well for $240,000, which means that all in, we're spending $4,255,000. But I'm telling you, this investment is going to be the best one of the video because it pays off so quickly, especially this week. Actually, the time I'm recording this, your very first heist, you're going to get the Panther statue, which is a $1.9 million piece of loot. So we'll get into that later, but big time to be doing the heist. So now that we got everything going for the Cayo Perico heist, we're now going to get into it. And the best method that I suggest is doing the Kosatka approach, so the submarine approach. You're only going to have to do the 3 setup missions. It's either going to be the safe code or the plasma cutter. You're going to need the cutting torch and then the fingerprint as well. You do those 3, and then for your weapons loadout, do marksman. When you load up the mission, if you see Merryweather HQ in the bottom, just go into a new session and come back and see if you can get a different one, because that one is horrible. Anything that has to do with the building, there's a bunch of buildings in the city that you could go to, but that's what you're going to want to do. So those are the 3 setups you're going to need, plus the marksman as your weapons loadout. Do the submarine approach, and then we're going from the drainage tunnel. That's going to be your entry point. And essentially, I have a whole video or a whole heist finale that I did. It'll be in the top right hand corner. If you want to see exactly how I get in and out of the compound, I highly suggest going to watch that. But this should be done in about an hour. The Cayo Perico heist should not take any more than an hour, max 1 hour and 15 minutes. And this should earn you on average $1.2 to $1.3 million. It is a massive payout. So 1.2, 1.3 million for about an hour's of work, which is by far the best money-making method. And before we get into the next step, I'm just going to give you some pieces of advice. 1, make sure you fast travel with the submarine. 2, make sure you avoid that Merryweather HQ at all costs with the marksman loadout. And 3, always make sure to take your time, never rush it, especially the finale. Just do it properly, do it the best you can, and you'll be fine. So once we've completed the first Cayo Perico heist, we now have the next block of what we need to do. So there's going to be a 2.5 hour cooldown between now, the ending of that first heist, and when you could start up another Cayo Perico heist, which is what we're going to be doing in the future. And how you spend that time is really up to you, but there is one thing we have to make sure we do for sure, and that is sell off our bunker supplies, or our bunker stock. So we're going to go over to our bunker. Because we stocked it up in the morning or at the very beginning, we should now have $210,000 worth of supplies, which $135,000 of it is pure profit. Resupply, sell, that should take another 10-15 minutes, and now we're left with 2 hours and 15 minutes of time to kill. So if we want to hit the $4 million per day, we're going to have to do a few things. 1, I suggest doing the ammo drop-off and the bike delivery with the MC Clubhouse and the bunker, vice versa of the businesses, but doing those 2 things are each $50,000 a piece. You could do them once every hour, which means it's an extra $100,000 per hour. You can also do the Life and Death Bikes mission with the MC Clubhouse. And besides that, you could really do whatever you want. If you could do it fast enough, you could even do the Dre contract, which would put you well over the $4 million mark, closer to the $5 million mark. You could do whatever you want. But the other option is you could just leave, which is usually what I do. I just leave. You could leave it AFK or at your CEO office, but just take off. I usually just go eat, work out, play sports, whatever it may be. We got 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 15 minutes to kill. And then when we get back, it's back to the grind. So once we get back from doing whatever we were doing, we now have 2 more things to do. The first is we now have to go sell off our bunker supplies, because our bunker in about the 2.5 hour range should have resupplied fully. So go restock, sell off the stock that you have, another $210,000. And then we're going to start up another Cayo Perico heist. But this time is special because we've started it up within, I think it's like a 45-minute time frame from the cooldown ending. We're now going to activate hard mode. Now, for us, hard mode doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make it any harder. One thing I will say is you end up having one more fingerprint hack. I suggest doing the exact same approach that I showed you for the first one. Do it for the second time around, and for all the times you do it. It's really simple. But we have hard mode, which means that we're getting 10% more money on everything. So your loot, the secondary targets as well, everything is going to be 10 times more money, which is awesome. Plus, if you complete the elite challenge, it's now going to be a $100,000 reward instead of a $50,000 reward, which means that on this run, we should be making $1.4 to $1.5 million. So on this one, just make sure you restart the heist within 45 minutes of the cooldown ending. Do that, you activate hard mode, and now we're making even more money. And once we've completed that Cayo Perico heist for the second time on hard mode, we should have made $1.4, $1.5 million. And so the last thing we have to do is just go to our nightclub, collect any cash from the safe if we have it, and then sell off our stock. In my case, it was for $550,000, $600,000, so a decent amount. And at that point, we've made our $4 million for the day. As you can see, this is really simple. Just about anybody can do it, just so long as you have the structure, you have the foundation of what you need, which are those three main businesses: bunker, nightclub, and then also the Kosatka submarine. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped. This is how I've been making just tons of money. And if you want to take it one step further, just do as many Cayo Perico heists as you can, realistically. Just so long as you keep doing them on hard mode, you're going to be making $1.3 to $1.5 or more million every few hours. It's really the simplest way to do it. Easy way to make money. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.